So, shall I just start or? Okay. You ready?
Are you ready?
Nice. A 3-year-old boy asked, "Grandmother, can I climb that big tree?" And she helped him on the first branch. Climbed to the second, to the third, and fell. If you want to get to the top, you will have to keep climbing. And she helped him on the first branch. Climbed to the second, third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. When he came down, he said, Now I can climb up to the sky." The boy grew up, and he was loved by everyone. But everyone also agreed that he would never, ever make something of his life. You see, the only thing that interested him was a wooden flute that he had made himself. Every day he would wander into the woods, and he would listen to the voices of the land and the water. His sister thought that one day he would just fall into the fjord and drown. He didn't really mind. He just kept walking and playing his flute. One day, he came to a big white wall. Beautiful trees grew over it, and he had never seen something like that. Climbed over it. There in front of him was the most beautiful garden you can imagine. Flowers in every single color, plants growing up to the sky, and in the middle a pond, and next to the pond there was a young girl. She was even more beautiful than the flowers. His heart jumped. He lost his breath. He had to do something. He decided to play flute. No response. He tried again. No response. Every day he went to the wall and every day he played flute. But he never saw her. And one evening, he was walking in town. He heard people talking about a beautiful white wall and plants behind it and a princess. His heart broke. A princess? A princess can never love me. Broken-hearted, he walked through the streets. His tears fell on the heavy stones, and the night had never been so dark. Eventually, he came to the market, and there were merchants. And merchants told the kind of stories that only merchants can tell. They told about everything magical and everything possible, or would it be impossible? We're not sure. They invited him to drink a good cup of tea with them, and they kept telling their stories. They spoke about an old man living in the desert who was capable of anything, apparently. And the boy, so enthusiastic, asked, "This man, do you think that he can change a man's soul?" "Well, we believe he can." "Okay, and where can I find this man?" "Ooh. You just keep walking straight into the desert for 3 days and 3 nights, and then you'll find him. Small hut, donkey tied to a tree, and there you'll find him." So with nothing else but the clothes on his body and the flute in his hands, he started walking. And he walked 3 days and 3 nights, and sure enough, there he found a small hut with a donkey tied to it. He knocked on the door, and an old, humble man opened. I don't know how long his beard was, but it was pretty long. And he asked, Sir, are you the magician? I've heard that you could do..." "Whoa. Son, everybody hears something about me. So sit down, drink a cup of tea, and tell me your story." But when he sat down, he couldn't wait. And eventually, he told the magician everything and asked his question. "Can you make me strong, courageous, powerful? Can you make me a warrior, a knight, a king, a man? Can you change my soul?" "Yes, I can change your soul. But be aware that once I have changed a man's soul, it can never be undone." He agreed. "And how do you think you will pay me?" "You see, it must be the thing you value most highly. The magician warned him. Not only would he give away his flute, but also the ability to play it. Time passed, and no one heard anything about the boy anymore. His sister thought that he had drowned, and the land was taken by war. Soon the king would have to surrender, On the outskirts of the desert, some men were keeping guard. And on the horizon, they saw this small black dot coming closer to them. It was a man wrapped into black clothes. And when he was close enough that they could see him, they saw that it was the most beautiful man they had ever seen. He called himself the Black Prince, and he asked for an audience with the king. He stood in front of His Majesty. Your Majesty, if you give me the power over your army, I will promise you I will win back everything and more. The king liked his bravery. It didn't happen that much that he would see men who dared to stand before him and ask such big questions. So he did give him control over his army. Like the Black Prince had foretold, everything was re-won and more in only weeks. When he walked into the city gates, people were singing about his brave acts. Women were throwing flowers on the street. Children were dancing behind him. The king said, "My man, how can I ever thank you? What is it you desire? Riches, fame, glory? It can all be yours. What do you desire? Come back in 1 month from now and give me your answer." 1 month later, the Black Prince returned to the palace all alone. And when he came into the big hall, was sitting the king, and next to him, his daughter, the princess. "My man, tell me, what do you desire?" "Your Majesty, I don't want fame or glory or riches. The only thing I want to ask is your daughter's hand in marriage." The princess stood up. "Father, if it's your wish that I marry this man, I will, but first, listen to my story. You see, I was in my garden and I was so alone. There was no one to talk to, no one who understood me or listened to how I felt. But then one day there was a boy, and he climbed up to the city wall. And his face, it was like the 4 seasons. And I've never seen anything more beautiful like it. And he had a flute. Father, he played what I felt. Every day I hoped that he would just come up the wall and run towards me, and then we could live here in the palace and get married. But one day he did not return. And I asked my servants to go and search everywhere for him. And when they returned, I heard that he had died. Father, I have promised myself that I can never love someone that deeply anymore. The Black Prince had listened very carefully. Once, Once I had a love as deep as yours. Never would I make you marry me. And it is said that he walked out of the city hall, out of the town, into the desert, that he was never seen or heard of again. In my life, there have been two women, and both of them had found a specific key that fitted on the lock of a door in my heart that I didn't even know existed. They turned it around, opened the door, walked in, turned everything upside down, walked out, locked the door behind them, and walked away. One of them I will leave in the shadows. The other one is my legendary Scottish mom, Maria, a Wicca high priestess, mother of 7 children, covered with every possible tattoo, driving her Harley Davidson, fighting lung emphysema, fighting alongside a pacemaker, fighting MS, fighting multiple forms of cancer, and now fighting a brain tumor. And I was on my way to meet this wild woman. I was 18 when I came to town. They called the summer of love. They were burning babies, burning flags, their hawks against the doors. And I took a job at the steamer way down at Keldrum Street, and I fell in love with a laundry girl who was working next to me. Brown hair zigzagged around her face and look of half surprise, like a fox caught in the headlights. There was animal in her eyes. She said to me, oh, can you see that I'm not the factory kind? And if you don't take me out of here, I'll lose my mind. She was a rare thing, as fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, she was running wild. She said, so long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. You wouldn't want me any other way. We're camping down the Gar one time, the work was mighty good. She wouldn't wait for the harvest, I thought we should. And I said to her, we'll settle down and get a few acres done, with a fire burning in the heart and Bobby's on the run. She said, oh man, you foolish man, that surely sounds like hell. You might be lord of half the world, you'll not own me as well. She was a rare thing, as fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, she was running wild. She said, so long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. You wouldn't want me any other way. We're drinking more in those days. Our tempers reached the pitch. Like a fool I let her run away when she took the rambling hitch. And I heard that she's been living rough back in Matarby Beat, with a bottle of Wilders in her pocket, a wolf found at her feet. And they say that she got married once to a man called Romany Brown, and even the gypsy caravan was too much like settling down. And they say her roses faded with weather and her booze. Maybe that's the price you'll pay for the chains that you'll refuse. She was a rare thing, as fine as a bee's wing. I miss her more than ever words can say. If I could just taste all of her wildness now, if I could hold her in my arms today, I wouldn't want her any other way. I walked into the hospital, straight to her room. There she lay on her bed, bald because of chemotherapy and swollen because of the medication. Hey you. Hey you. We talked about everything. Our adventures, the amazing things we had done and the stupid things we'd done. Everything we still had to say. And nothing special really. At some point, her daughter left the room and she was sitting up, looked me straight into the eyes and said, "This is it. I'm out of here. This will be the last time that we see each other." I know. Of all the words in this world, I could only say, I know. Then she asked me very cheeky, tell me a story. Okay, what would you like to hear? Something about life and death might be good. Okay, when she saw that I couldn't find a story immediately, she said, "Or take any story." I dreamed once. I dreamed I was walking in a desert. Nothing grew there. No plants, no trees, only sand. In the distance, I could see a small house, a little bit English cottage style. And it was totally blue, a dark blue, like here at Jarna. When I got closer to the house, I saw that there was no door and no windows. Okay. And I really had to pee. Well, I do kind of like my privacy, you know, and it's not because there's no one now that, you know, there are still people that might come. And there's nothing around here but sand, so maybe. The moment that the golden liquid hit the door, hit the house, a door appeared, and I had peed against that door. A window appeared, and an old woman had seen me pee against her door. Oh God. Fear overtook me. I started thinking, what should I do? But the door swung open. There was no time to be afraid anymore. The old woman stood straight in front of me, silver locks falling over her shoulders, a face carved by years of life experience. She was wearing a dress in every possible color, surrounded by black. And her starlit eyes looked straight at me. When I came in the house, nothing was blue at all. Everything existed out of wood. Wooden floor, wooden ceiling, and a wooden wall and a wooden ceiling. Through the window, the sun was shining on a round oak tree table. There were 2 chairs. One of those chairs she offered to me. Yeah, excuse me, man, but you see, I've had a long way and I've traveled for days and days. I don't know how long. And I came to your house. Yeah, I really had to pee and I do want some privacy, but there was no door. And then there was a door. But yeah, I can only say I'm sorry. I did not intend to disrespect you or your house. Is there anything I can do to make it up to you? $5,000. I started thinking 5,000? 5,000 what? 5,000 pounds, euros, kilometers, miles, rabbits? Excuse me, Bamboo. 5,000 what? 5,000. $5,000 is the amount of mistakes that I made in my life. Yours is only one. I was struck with love by this woman. She didn't even know me. At least I think. We looked into each other's eyes for forever. Eventually, she stood up. She opened her door and she opened her heart. could have stayed in that embrace forever. But she was not a destination. So I walked out of that door, straight into that desert. But one last time I turned around and looked at her. And there she stood. There she stood in all her power and strength and beauty. And from the distance I could still see her starlit eyes shining in the sun. I turned around and started walking towards my unknown destination. Maria and I talked as if we had 20 more years to go, while 20 minutes was more realistic. When it was time to leave, I said to her, "The boy is dead." She said, "Well, it's about time." She called me to her bed, and I bent over. She whispered, "If you get home, go to my room. Next to my bed on the top shelf, there are 2 drums, 2 borons. One's cheap, use it at parties, wherever you want. The other one is expensive. It's a very special one. Don't let anyone else play it. And only play it at special occasions. My gift to you is music." I gave her a kiss on her head and stroked away a tear. And as I stood up, she looked at me and said, "You're gonna be an old man. I just saw him passing there." And I thought to myself, I know. And I walked out of that room, straight out of that hospital, to an unknown destination. Eventually, that unknown destination took me somewhere in England, to a place called Emerson College, where I was feeding about 50 people, or 200 sometimes. And as I was sustaining them and giving them life, on the 19th of July, my legendary Scottish mom, Maria, surrounded by her 7 children, went from this world to the other. I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become? my sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. I'll wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feeling disappears, and you are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, 1,000,000 miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way. Yesterday, I met an old man. And he claimed that the moon was more important than the sun. Why? Because at night, we need the light more. Thank you very much.